Thank you for joining Think, Build, Launch podcast. This is an extension of Marl Accelerator. Marl is an early stage accelerator fund for startups developing deep tech products and services for enterprise customers using 5G technology. Marl aims to create a community of investors, founders, and corporate ventures in sectors like mobility, AR/VR, autonomous, robotics, and logistics. We invest in next generation of the founders that are shaping this world of enterprise. Our program, Think, Build, Launch, features members of the Marl community, including founders, service providers, and investors. And today we actually have one of the Marl community founders here. Our program is called Digital Disruption in the Restaurant Vertical. And Bhushan Mishra is our guest. He's a maestro building data science teams and developing products that have been using technology for over 15 years. And he's really the technology behind Flexa. His venture markedly revolutionizes the restaurant sector with unified restaurant what's called a unified restaurant operating system that seamlessly blends offline and online dining avenues. Through Flexa, he not merely is trimming the operational expenses, but also amplifying revenue and patron satisfaction, ushering in the contemporary wave of tech-fueled dining. And before I bring him on, I just want to say that all of us are touched by our dining experience. And we probably all know people that had a vision, started a restaurant, and it went out of business simply because the idea of having a craft and knowing how to run a business are very two separate skills. So with that, Bhushan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
That's fantastic. So well, tell us about Flexa and how is it transforming the restaurant sector?
Definitely. So I want to take you and our listeners bit back towards why I started Flexa. I think the main problem, especially when I started Flexa, was almost everybody in the world faced was the COVID, right? And during COVID, what happened was restaurants, our mom and pop friendly restaurants in the next neighborhood, they started suffering from almost like no customers, right? And that at that time there was only one thing which was available to them, and those were third-party ordering systems. Example, Uber Eats. And what they were doing was charging up to, or they are still charging up to 40% per order, which takes almost everything from the restaurants, leaving them with nothing at the end when they go home. Right, so they're putting a lot of effort, they are doing a lot of work, making customers happy. But at the end of the day, restaurant owners go with nothing. And that was the reason why a lot of restaurants started closing, right? And also because the way COVID affected the market was, it changed the behavior of people. They couldn't go to the restaurant, so they started ordering online. And what we realized at that time was that restaurants didn't have any direct source where they could get order directly from the restaurant. And this is why I started Flexa, to help them really get direct orders without paying such hefty commission. So that was the idea behind Flexa.
I love that. So if you're listening here, it's that, often when we use DoorDash and we use some of these other apps that unfortunately it takes a heavy lift out of the actual revenue of the restaurateur. And what Flexa is working to do is to actually help retain the investment and the operating costs for the actual restaurant owner, who's usually trying to create a better experience for you and your families, which is great. Now, what's really interesting is the data science behind this technology. You obviously are already, a ChatGPT whisperer, and you've been in the field for over a decade. Can you let us know, how did you enter data science, and then how are you using data science in this particular application?
Yes. So I've been working in the field before even starting Flexa, almost 10 years in the field of data science. And that time it was mostly because I was interested in, and Harvard Business Review said this is the sexiest thing of the market. So that was a curiosity why I entered the data science team. Then I worked for two companies, big giants, for 10 years in automotive and healthcare. And in today's market, how I help with the data science to restaurateurs is to really help them customize their menu experience. Because at the end of the day, when customers are ordering online, they have no option to just, let's say you want to go in a restaurant, and when you go and see some Chinese food or Indian food, you have no idea what it might look like. So we help them create beautiful image, beautiful descriptions. We curate the whole menu experience for the restaurants, so they can serve their customers same experience like they would at the restaurant.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm in Rochester, New York, and I recently learned that that New York has 30% of the world's beverage and restaurant business. So I think that this is an exciting time to be listening to you and how you're trying to do this. I'm also thinking about there's a lot more box dinners that are, so instead of people going to restaurants, I think people are actually ordering and customizing their own menus simply because of the lack of opportunity, as you just articulated. What are some of the emerging trends that you see shaping the future of our eating habits? And how are you at Flexa really positioned to adapt to these trends?
Definitely. So there are a couple of things I want to bring here. One is the online side. On the online side, what I'm seeing now still like a lot of older people who are not very familiar with the online trend, like let's say going on the website or app and ordering, at least in this part of the world, Germany, right? So here, what we are trying to work towards is to really automate the whole ordering process, voice-driven ordering process for the restaurants, while cutting their costs so they don't have to employ like 2 to 3 people just taking calls. On the offline side, what we are trying to do now is to really help on the table. Let's say as a customer, when you go to the table, you can simply scan the QR code, you can order food, pay directly, give good reviews or bad reviews to your restaurants. And even if you're not happy with this, you can even call the waiter instead of now going in the restaurant and just showing them hand, knowing them, like, because you also need to know that the people who work in the restaurant, they are super busy, right? And they don't know all the time that who is waiting for you. So what we really help here with the QR code is really to, hey, call our waiter friend. And if you are techie enough, you can also directly order, split your bill with your friends and pay directly.
Oh my gosh. Are you able to, because I know a lot of your work and people are very private with their profit and loss statements and all of that. Is there a case study that you're most excited about that you're willing to share?
I think I would just refer to a couple of restaurants we started with. And most of them we started with because they are young mom and pop stores, right? What we did for them, what really changed the whole ordering experience for them was like, when they started, they were 100% reliant on third-party companies. But today, I'm proud to say most of them, they have 50% of the online orders coming now directly through their own website, which is powered by Flexa. And this is what we are really proud of, because now they are actually able to save a lot of money per restaurant and take home and at least give this away to their customers with like service, etc.
Agency and ownership going to the restaurant owner it makes a lot of sense, and it's really, I can see it being a very successful application. Entrepreneurship often comes with its own share of ups and downs, and being a technologist is a very different skill set than being an entrepreneur. Can you tell us about some major obstacles or setbacks that you encountered and how you overcame them, not as a technologist, but as an entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. I think as an entrepreneur, it's very important to believe in what you do, right? Because there are times, or I would say there are often times, like sometimes at least once or twice a week, where you are thinking, why don't I go back to what I was doing, make a good living and continue with that? But really what every entrepreneur should do is to believe in what they're doing, right? And because this is what get them going. This is what motivated me, because I wanted to connect with these guys, restaurateurs, because I also owned restaurant myself before. And so I know the pain, right? And this is why this made sense for me. And now today, I'm very happy with it. But believe me, I'm still having thoughts time to time, hey, what I'm doing here, right? It's a very tough, difficult thing. But what keeps me going every time is, as an entrepreneur, is that I believe that I can affect in a positive way to this many people. I think it's a very important need to quantify this, that, okay, as an entrepreneur, can I help 1 person? Can I help 10%? Can I help 1,000 people? Right? So this is very important for every entrepreneur who wants to start anything. They should really quantify that, hey, why I'm here, and if they're achieving that.
I think what's so lovely about what you have to share is that it wasn't just an idea that was kind of baked out, oh, this is a cool, market. It's that you had a vision for an experience you wanted to create for people and had that experience. Do you want to actually talk about your original idea when you started a restaurant?
So when I started the restaurant, actually it was also in the midst of COVID. And what I noticed at that time, first of all, like there was a need, it was a bigger need for me that I wanted to eat good food, right? So there was not many restaurants. And one of the reasons, and I was, to be very honest, I was not like the operation guy there because I was mostly as a silent partner. But I was happily contributing a good friend of mine, to run this restaurant, right?
I love it. So there's this theme might be renamed Good Food and Good Data, right? Because my last question for you is about, with your extensive experience in leading data science teams, what can you offer? It's such a new entity. It's super hard to lead people where you're also learning yourself. And so do you have any insight for how our listeners can manage their data teams and what ideas you might have for them?
Definitely. So I think a leader should always believe in their team. I think the first thing what they should always do is, like, whenever they are hiring, let's say, they should always hire the people they can work with. I think that should be the priority, because what I've noticed based on my previous experience before Flexa and during Flexa, what really works out is if you believe in your team and let them do what they want to do. All you need to do as a leader is to show them the path, but not really tell them on the stepwise, like, this is what you need to do. Let them decide. Give them the problem. A lot of people make a mistake that they break down the whole problem in the data science team into such a small part that people who are doing is they don't even understand. You need to let your people who are working with you believe in what they're doing, right? So if they understand the problem and if they believe in it, I think they'll make a fantastic team.
That's really, so it seems like enjoyment and passion are behind everything you do, whether it's enjoying the food that you're eating, enjoying the people that you're working with, and then enjoying the ability to retain the profit about what you've created. There's a lot of autonomy in that, which is great. You've been listening to Bhushan Mishra of Flexa, transforming the restaurant business and allowing the restaurant owner to have more autonomy in their actual business process. I would like to acknowledge the Marl team for being part of Flexa, as well as NCA in Hamburg and Amazon Web Services and PricewaterhouseCoopers in Berlin. A shout out to you as being part of Fleska's success. I'd also like to thank Think, Build, Launch producer Scott Fitzgerald here in Rochester, New York. And if you have an idea and want to know more about our program, please connect with me, Jennifer, at marlaccelerator.com. Please subscribe to our program, and we'll continue to share insights on how you can frame your value proposition, raise capital, and design for scale. This is Jennifer Sertle. Thank you for joining us.